I am. You're on tape, so we're quoting you.
I know I'm on tape. It's okay. There's, it has a feel of '96, like I said before, where things just fell into place. The quarterback play is better. I don't think there's any disagreement here that I personally think that Foles is a better quarterback than Mark Brunell, and I love Mark to death, but Foles is a better quarterback as far as his arm strength and his ability. The running game is strong. The defense is better than advertised. This has the makings of another 1996 in my mind.
Okay. So the floor is yours. What else you got for me?
Oh boy. Let's see. Something that I didn't think about that is important is these games matter. And I know that the 2020 schedule came out as far as the opponents the Jaguars will play. These games for the next 3 home games really matter. So fan support is crucial. Mm-hmm. And we've been in the stands where, let's just say that there are probably more empty seats than there are people there. So I'm hoping that with and remember that's energy, with Minshew there and the shirt sales and the mustaches and everything, they weren't selling out. So I'm hoping that Foles re-energizes the community again. Mm-hmm. I know that's hard to say because Minshew Mania was amazing.
Right. And they made money off of it.
Sorry, go ahead.
And they made money off of it, too.
They made lots of money off of it. We need to see as many fans in the stands as possible. And I know that that's something that the front office and the business side of the Jaguars want to see. The best thing that cures that is winning.
Yeah.
And there are 2 games that they should have beaten Houston on the road, and they should have beaten New Orleans at home. And had that happened, reversal of fortune, there are more people in the seats.
Right.
So I'm hoping that if they win 2 road games back to back, and they come to play the Bucs, which is a home game, it's a rivalry game because it's in state.
Right.
I'm praying to the football gods they sell the place out.
Well.
They've got San Diego. Sorry, Los Angeles.
Oh, you're doing this on purpose now, Levin. Come on.
I really, you know what? When I say Chargers, I've got this image of Dan Fouts throwing to James Jefferson down the sideline.
It's a good image, man. And don't forget Kellen Winslow while you're at it.
Oh, hey, by the way, I was at that game for the Dolphins in '81.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that's another story. But no, seriously, when I'm thinking Chargers, I'm thinking Dan Fouts throwing the ball deep to 3 people. Oh, I think Wes Chandler was part of that too, so that's why I do it. But anyway,
that's all right.
So they've got Tampa Bay on the 1st of December. They've got the Chargers on the 8th of December, and then they've got the last game of the season against the Colts, which may determine if there's a second playoff spot. So there's a lot riding on this. We need to see as many people in the stands. I know that it's Florida. I know it's December. I know people are going to say it's time to get colder out and it's the holidays. Come on out.
All right, so I have a question for you. Okay, I know that the collective bargaining agreement is close to actually being completed, and now they're talking about a 17th game, 1 neutral site game. So now, knowing that Jacksonville already gives up a game, there's 2 ways they can go, and I don't know if you've heard anything yet, and I know we won't until it's all said and done. Do you think that Shad Khan would try to get the league into giving him a second game overseas, or does Jacksonville actually get 8 home games? I've wondered about that.
I don't know, and that's a great question to ask. I know that I saw that there was a story about how the league is closer to playing 17 games.
Right.
What I think happens, and we kind of touched on this before, that the Jaguars would agree to play 1 home game at London and be the away team the following week for London, and that way the Jaguars acquire another home game.
Interesting. We'll have to find that out.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have to read on that. I'm not too familiar with the way that the bargaining agreement goes with that. I just know that when Khan bought the team, he came to the league and said, look, I'd like to take the team to London, and I'm not sure of all the particulars, but there was a deal that was worked out where the Jaguars will be there every year because Khan has business interests overseas, and he can make a profit for the team. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to work in somewhere, right?
You would think, right? I
Well,
would.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a writer. So I'll leave that to you guys. You're a lot smarter than I am.
Oh, don't push it. But you know what? Here's the thing. Okay, when I come up there in a couple of weeks, then now you and I can both team up on this and see if we can get some information beyond just ourselves. You never know what kind of stuff we'll bring on the program. So you and I will do a little bit of double teaming on that one.
Maybe it's something that I do a little bit of research on and I come back to you on Tuesday and we talk a little bit about it. And
there you go.
Examine it later.
Why don't you do that? Okay, gives you a homework assignment.
Yeah, that's great. I failed it. I failed history and I failed shorthand too. But I think that there's got to be an agreement somewhere in collective bargaining or with TV revenue, because that's all going to factor into it.
Right.
That if they decided to expand the season, because I believe the original agreement was is that they had to expand it by 2, not 1. So if they expand the season by 1, what is the provision for moving games overseas, and what is also the provision for television revenue, because they don't profit as much. So maybe I'll take a look at that for you.
Okay, that'd be good. It'll give you something to think about. But, anything else you want to talk about with the Colts? I know that I don't think Brissett's going to be playing. Is that correct? That doesn't appear to be that way.
Well, he said he was practicing, I believe, today.
No, Brissett practiced.
Oh, is he active? Okay, I wasn't sure.
He's active. Here's what I want to say, and I'll go back to Foles, because he is. When we heard the speech, and he was talking about how great it was to come back, and he was excited, and was talking about how when he got hit, he knew he broke it. And he started talking about the fact that it's football and it's great, but he has other things that go on in his life, his family, his religion, his faith, his ministry, and whatnot. I heard a leader. I heard a genuine leader from the quarterback position, and no disrespect to Gardner, and no disrespect to Blake, and no disrespect to anybody else who has been in that room. You finally heard somebody who was taking the team and putting them on his shoulders and saying, I'm going to lead you. Come follow me. The first thing he did when he signed the contract was he called Calais Campbell. Or Calais called him, and Calais told me this and some of the other members of the media when he was talking. They had a long discussion about the direction of this team. And then he talked to Leonard Fournette. And I believe he did talk to Jalen at the time. And he talked to other key people. And what he was, he set himself up to make sure that people understood that they're going to win and lose by him. When can you say that anybody at the quarterback position, remember there's been Gabbert and Bortles and David Garrard and Mark Brunell and Rob Johnson and whoever else you can throw in there, Chad Henne. Right. When have you ever heard a quarterback do that?
Only when you got a quarterback that's won the Super Bowl, pal.
And made a Pro Bowl.
Well, that's true.
You're asking me a question. I'm giving you an answer. Won a Super Bowl, and he did it in good, convincing fashion. He beat Tom Brady, for God's sakes. If that isn't confidence, then tell me what the word is. You're the one who knows what the word confidence is, Lewis.
They didn't even punt in that game. I mean, it was like 53 to 45.
Yeah.
I mean,
right. Anybody that can go out there and win a Super Bowl and beat Tom Brady.
Yeah. Him and Eli Manning are table for 2. Yeah, there you go. So.
Pretty much, yes. The only thing I am praying to the football god is that he's not mobile, and that the offensive line plays the best game of its season.
Right.
Because that's the only thing that worries me.
I would argue that's
I appreciate it, guys.
That's okay though.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, the closing point. I would argue that's okay though. I mean, you have a less chance of him getting hurt. Yeah, he did tear his clavicle on a pass play, but you have a better chance of him, keeping the ball in his hands or at least staying healthy than you do this. Someone like Minshew who can run around a little bit more. Obviously, Minshew didn't get hurt, but I think longevity is one thing that they're focused on here. And even though Foles was already hurt earlier in the season, I'd rather somebody with an elite throwing arm manning the ship for me than somebody like Kyler Murray who's just going to scramble most of the time. Though he's showed himself up
I agree with you.
to being a depth passer.
I do agree with you on that one.
But it's something. It'll definitely be interesting to talk about on Tuesday because that narrative will begin to further develop. Depending on how he does against Brissett and whether Brissett employs Eric Ebron. We're talking about a 4-6 team or a 500 team, so we don't know.
Well, not only that, what I'll say about the whole thing when we talk about it is, we all know that Minshew was able to move around more mobile. Now you have the vertical passing game, so you have two quarterbacks that are totally different style-wise. So when you put it all in perspective, we're going to find out which one's more effective on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, real quick, guys, give me a score because we watched that last time. What do you got, Lewis?
All right, so if I'm being overly pessimistic, and look, I botched I was the only one who picked the Texans to win, but my score wasn't even close, so I'll deduct some smart points for that one. I'll say that Foles comes out, he throws for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I think Brissett struggles a little bit because of the MCL, and they win something like 34-13.
Really?
I have a lot of confidence in Foles. I think he's going up against a good defense, but I think he has enough, in that throwing arm, and I think Fournette's going to have a big game. He'll score, he'll double his touchdown total on the ground, and I think they'll win, sure-handedly.
I hope you're right. Sorry.
Okay, Scott, what you got?
You know what? I got to go 22-16. I do. I don't know why. Yeah, Jacksonville. Yeah, I'd say 22-16 because I'm not sure what I'm getting out of Foles yet. So, 3 touchdowns.
I'm being overly pessimistic.
That's all right. Whatever. You have an
or
opinion.
Optimistic, I'm sorry.
Well, you have an opinion. That's why you're giving it. Go ahead.
I'm going to leap over Lewis. Foles comes out, throws 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. The defense gets 6 sacks. They win 24-7.
Well, you and I are 2 points apart. That's all right. I'm
saying the defense really steps up. So,
yeah,
I'm going to say 24-7.
I'm actually surprised the defense is as good as it is, despite all the hype that surrounded Jalen Ramsey. I think that's the thing that just boggles me. You keeping score here, pal, or what? You writing stuff down?
Yeah, you got 22-16. He's 20.
Write it down.
26-7, and then I'm 34-13.
This kid's not afraid to write. He does it all the time. Hold on. Before you get off the line, he's going to be grading us on Tuesday. So here, write it down. Who's got what?
I got everyone down.
All right, does he? All right, well, we're going to find that out. So I'll be very curious to see what happens out there on Sunday, 22-16, and you say 24-7. And Boy Wonder here has a lot more points than any of us. But either way, all I care is that Fournette gets a lot of yards. Yeah, right. Fournette. And you know what, Dave? I will say this before you get off the line. I'm glad that Leonard Fournette is taking ownership of the team. I know there were some issues with him last year, but now it's about time that the veteran part comes out of the guy. And one thing I should say before we get off the line is I'm sure he had to be gleaming after LSU beat Alabama.
Oh, I know he was.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that he gave Cam Robinson an earful right after the game.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you know what? I'm leaving it on a laugh. That was good. All right, you just be ready to. I like leaving segments on a laugh, and that's what we're going to do. So, all right, you and I'll be in touch over the weekend on Monday, and we'll see what you got come Tuesday night. Have a good weekend. Go Jaguars. Okay.
Enjoy your weekend. All right.
I'll do that. Thanks.
Bye, David.
So, all right, go ahead. Talk, Boy Wonder.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was being overly optimistic. I think the only thing that prevents me from possibly being right as far as how many points they're going to score is the fact that I'll refer back to the Kansas City game. I believe it was week 3 when Brissett upset Mahomes and they beat them. I believe they had possession in that game for 37 of the 60 minutes on the time clock. And the biggest thing with them is obviously the fact that he doesn't throw often. So, given that they're doing a lot of plays on the ground, you're going to chew up a lot of time. So I don't know if Foles is going to have enough time to do that. But given that he has the propensity to break off for a deep pass, it wouldn't shock me if it gets ugly. But, I'm rooting for Jacksonville in the AFC South, or East. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and bear in mind, though, when you talk about that, the Colts had a good blueprint watching the Lions pretty much contain the Chiefs. If it wasn't for a late-minute defensive collapse of the Lions, Detroit wins that football game. Mm-hmm. And the Colts were smart enough to look at enough film so that the result favored them after that. So good points up by all of you guys.
Yeah. I'm interested, do you have an idea when that CBA is supposed to be renewed?